Alright, guys, what is going on? Drew Dew here. We're back today with Ryan Portnew.
Thanks for having me on, dog.
Alright, so today, this is the first installment of Politics with Portnew, and we're going to ask him some questions about just what's been going on in politics at this time. So let's just jump right into these questions. So the first question is, do you think the president Donald Trump is fit to be president?
Uh, I'd like to start by posing a similar question: is what do we all think of being fit is as far as serving as the president of this country? Physically he's fit. I mean, he's definitely an older guy, in his probably early to mid 70s, but at the same time he's in good health. Now let's get to a whole nother aspect here: mentally and psychologically, and it's kind of sad when a president can win, and I'm not going to say by default, but really there were a lot of people who just thought it'd be a shoo-in for Hillary Clinton, and a lot of people didn't even bother to go vote. You could definitely see it in especially areas where Clinton was supposedly always going to be neck and neck, and then it turned out to be all Trump. You look at Michigan, one of the most northern states, typically Democratic stronghold, went red. And then you look at even states that were tosses that were probably going to still favor Hillary Clinton. You look at states like Florida, which was won by Obama in 2012 and 2008. You look at that and you say, okay, this should be Hillary's state to win. And you look at it and you think, okay, that's going to look good. But then it was somehow the most heavily populated metro areas were the counties that she lost. Look at the counties. Somehow Miami-Dade County, she didn't even win. And I don't think it was a lack of trying or getting out and campaigning on her part, as much as it was people just thought it'd be a shoo-in for her winning, and they just didn't even bother to vote. That is one thing that I can think we can all say about Democrats, particularly liberals, is that, and this is one thing I can definitely give conservatives and Republicans credit for, voting, it's a pride thing. It's a matter of country. It's a feeling of belonging. It's such a big deal. It's like part of the character. You look at in the South, in conservative strongholds, and it's a big deal. You go out, you vote. It's a big deal. You don't vote. It's something you can kind of get shunned or shamed for. It's a big deal. It's all about the pride and being American, and they tie all that into it, and it's almost like such a big deal just having pride in your country, and part of that is voting. And you look at it on the other side, on the liberal left, I'm not going to say not a big deal, because clearly voting for everyone is a big deal. I mean, look what happened, but you don't see the pride that people take in it on the left as much. You go to like conservative areas and, oh, it's such a big pride and it's so patriotic and it's just the thing to do. It's just part of patriotism. It's just such heavy emotions towards making sure you get out and vote, and I just don't think you see that on the liberal left of this country. So,
All right. So the next question is very controversial. It's about the North Korea situation, that they're going to nuke the U.S. How do you think Trump has handled this situation? Because it is a very serious situation.
I'm not saying he's done perfect. I think the goal would have been to de-escalate things and try to talk peace with North Korea. Instead, it's been more of a I'm going to be I'm going to be very straightforward in saying this probably isn't going to be right, but it's been an issue of who has the biggest swinging dick between Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump, you know. The whole talk has been, oh, we're going to destroy you, no, we're going to destroy you more. It's just back and forth bantering. It's child's play, and we really needed someone to de-escalate it. Now, with that said, I don't think it's realistic. I know Kim Jong-un is a very unstable person, but at the same time, I mean, let's face facts. He is viewed by the North Korean populace as a god. I mean, he's a living god in their eyes. There's nothing he does wrong. He's treated like he's the king of the world. And he has these people in North Korea so brainwashed. I actually watched a documentary about these recently, about people who went in, these eye doctors who were granted access to North Korea. They were mostly American.
Oh, yeah, I watched that too.
And they went in there and they cured people's blindness and stuff just out of the goodness of their hearts, and it's a huge humanitarian effort. I saw stuff where he'd be in the room present at the time, and instead of going and thanking the doctors, everyone is so brainwashed over there. They just go over there and like kiss Kim Jong-un's feet and just praise him, like the doctors had nothing to do with it. You know, people are so brainwashed, and that ties into my point. You know, if North Korea bombs us, we're going to give them the same treatment. We're going to bomb them right back. It's definitely neither country is going to get out of it alive. So, the way I see it, and he might not want to admit this, but you got to think he's enjoying the life he has in North Korea. I mean, he's royalty, he's a god, he's everything to these people. I mean, he is such a big deal. He is worshipped like a god. People cater to his every whim. He's having a really good life over there, and I don't think, while he can be unstable, I don't think he's stupid enough to want to end it by trying to nuke us, because as soon as they send a nuke over here, we're going to send a nuke over there, and I just don't think he's going to find it worth it to do that when he has such a privileged life, shall we say.
Yeah, about that documentary, that was crazy. I honestly, it was like mind blown by that, because they had just pictures of
like in every home they had the mounted framed picture of him.
It's crazy. But that's a good documentary. You guys should go watch it if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
But so that was the whole North Korea situation, crazy. But something that's happening here. The Charlottesville, I don't know if it's still going on, but the Charlottesville protest about the white supremacists. What do you think about that? What's your opinion on that? Because that's been going crazy, and so.
So let me start by saying there are two sides here. In the two sides that are wanting to go out and peacefully protest and state their opinions and support their cause, I see nothing wrong with it on either side, for the most part. As far as, I'm more leaning at this point towards tearing down Confederate monuments, but I can totally understand, it's history, good or bad. I can see the people want to say it's just history and keep it up. That way, generations from now, my children's children might learn from the mistakes of the past, and I get that. You white boy history, and bad things are bound to repeat themselves. With that said, these alt-right, I'm going to put this very straightforward, these alt-right terrorist groups, what they're doing is wrong. I saw them going the night before with the tiki torches, protesting with the whole rallying cry, Jews will not replace us. And, there's just no place for that. I don't care. I don't care if the other protesters were there. I don't care if they didn't have a permanent, the alt-right protesters did. You're asking for trouble when you go around spouting such hatred nonsense. And I think a lot of people want to point to and say, okay, these alt-right.
All right, sorry about that, guys, but yeah, okay, you got it.
Okay. So, I know we just had a slight interruption, but like I was saying, people want to point to, oh, well, the alt-right protesters, they had a permit, they had every right to be there doing what they're doing. But you don't think all that hate and bigotry, you don't think that granted a response and gave other protesters the right to be there? I think they had every right, the counter protesters, to be there and do what they did. It's a sad day in this country. Or a sad time, I should say, when so many veterans and people that have given their lives to this country and everything we fought for in history, and now we have people that feel so emboldened by Donald Trump that they just think they can go out and say what they want and be bigots and racist and get away with it, even though, and this whole Jews cannot replace us, which is really sad. I mean, this whole neo-Nazi alt-right, it's not exactly what we fought to extinguish in the world, was the whole Nazi fascist movement. I mean, it's a sad day. There's got to be thousands of World War II veterans looking on at what's going on in the world, and they can't be pleased. It's a sad day when the things we had fought for, the freedom and the freedom from hate and the equality of all people and the fight for minorities, that everything these soldiers did. And I gotta admit, I'd be pretty pissed off if I fought in World War II to come and see this. I mean, you did something so great and so heroic, and no one will ever be able to thank you enough. But you have these people that turn around and do all these neo-Nazi protests that basically contradict everything you fought for. And I know it probably hurts to see what's going on, Almost feels like a wasted effort. You eradicate the Nazis in Europe, but then they somehow start popping up in America decades later. So it's just sad. And I've had people in my family that have served in the military, both my grandfathers, and I can say, it's a shame. I support the military. Every person who has fought in any war, you look at the greatest generation in World War II, and anyone really, what they did is heroic, and they should be commended for what they did, and we should make sure that Nazis never pop up. But what do? We go around with a president who supports, or at least doesn't go out of his way to condemn, the very thing that so many people, so many U.S. soldiers died fighting against, and then they crop up again. And then you don't have a president who's, I wouldn't say fully support it. I mean, I think there's definitely some ties there. Really, I think the issue is, this is basically his whole base, the people that voted for him. The 37 to 40% of the people, that's his true base, are these people. And it's sad. I think deep down he knows it's the right thing to condemn them, but I think he knows if there's ever a chance of him getting reelected or anything near that, he needs to hold on to this base. And you look at some of these alt-right racist groups that go around and who have been praising him for doing so. And it's not that I don't think he supports these groups. I think it's sad though when he can't stand up because it's his whole base, everyone that voted for him, essentially. And it shows him. You look at posts from, the head of the KKK, David Duke. Thank you, Mr. President, and all these posts on social media from all these alt-right leaders, and it's just, it's just a sad day. So.
That was all the questions. We had two more, but they're not really that important to these questions. But yeah, if you guys like the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe. And Ryan, you wanted to do a shout out for St. Louis FC.
Yeah, St. Louis FC. Let me get my shirt a little better. If you can see the little logo there in the middle, it's probably backwards on the camera. But let me just say, very talented team. I know they're not an MLS level team, but very good team. If you're ever in the St. Louis area, I highly encourage you to go and check out one of their games. It's truly a great experience.
Yeah, it really is, guys. So if you guys liked, give it a thumbs up. We'll see you guys later.